All right, so I guess I was gonna say good morning, but not the morning anymore. So I guess good evening, guys. Thank you guys for tuning into this interview. If you're watching, I'm blessed to be bringing on right now one of the top 2023 prospects out of the state of West Virginia and probably in the country, Ben Nicol. But before we get this interview underway, is there anything that you want to plug or anybody you want to shout out?
I think I'm good. I just appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, of course. And I guess I usually like I say this in my DMs, but like really no need to thank me. Like it's an honor, just being able to do what I do, talk to players like you. I would never expect to still be interviewing players after I mean, even like when I got my first interview, I was blown away. I was not expecting to still be doing this till this day. So, definitely just an honor to be talking to guys like you. But before we really get into maybe some more serious-ish topics, I'd like to start off these interviews a little more of like a lighthearted note, just some not maybe simple questions, but more not as serious questions. So I mean, you go to George Washington High School. I personally don't know anything about the high school itself, but it's called George Washington High School. That must obviously be pretty cool, I'm assuming. So what's like the connection to that?
Really? I don't think there's any connection at all. I really couldn't tell you where it got its name. It's had a good basketball history. Two or three pros overseas in the last couple years, last decade or so. So, great basketball program up here.
Yeah. Do people like anybody that's not maybe from I guess your area in West Virginia or doesn't live in the state of West Virginia, do they kind of ask you the same question? Like, man, like why is it called George Washington High School?
Not really much of like why it's called George Washington. More of just like where is it? Some people still think like Charleston is in Western Virginia, and it's just nah. West Virginia is a whole different state.
Yeah, because I was really like, I mean, it makes sense if maybe it was in like Virginia or like Maryland kind of vibe because that's where the Washington D.C. is, like Virginia, Maryland area. But for it to be in West Virginia, probably not too far away, I'm assuming, but still like it's not like in one of those two states. So I'm like, man, that's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, it's there. I don't think there's any correlation. Um, it's funny. Our middle school is John Adams Middle School as well. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know where it comes from.
So do you think if I put you on the spot, if I said like a number of one of the presidents, do you think you know every single president?
No, not at all.
But then
I think I could get a decent amount, but I don't know about every. Yeah, definitely not everyone in order.
yeah. Would you say like I guess you said like you went to John Adams Middle School and then I guess you go to George Washington High School. Are those maybe your I don't like getting political, but like are those like your two favorite presidents? Because like you guys went to the middle school and the high school.
I think George Washington is definitely up there. Just kind of what he did for the country, and then I'd probably say I think FDR was just like a very fascinating guy during like World War II era. So I guess those two.
Yeah, I forgot about. I mean, I'm assuming yeah he's dead, right? FDR,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
dead, right? Okay, yeah, okay. So he's not like gonna ever see this. I guess besides up above, but yeah, I completely forgot about all those. Are you taking like I'm assuming you're in U.S. history right now then, right? Because you're a
Yeah,
junior.
yeah.
Yeah, man, I forgot about that whole class. That class. Are you in Do you have a push at your school or no?
Yeah, we have a push. I didn't take it. Everyone says it's very difficult. So
Yeah. I took that class. Oh, I'm so happy.
I'm sure it was terrible.
Yeah, I know it was probably the worst class I've ever taken. But yeah, I forgot everything. So you said like FDR. I'm like, wait, I forgot about everything. So as we don't really need to get into that, but as now on maybe a little more of a similar ish note, kind of how you said like people don't know as about like Washington High School, like it's in West Virginia, kind of all that stuff. West Virginia, like I wouldn't say is a bad like I don't even know like much about. I don't know anyone from West Virginia besides like you and like a couple other basketball players. I think Huntington Prep is there, but like other than
Yeah,
that,
that's
like West
correct.
Virginia is not. It's not known for like producing these top basketball players. So what's it like, being a hooper in West Virginia?
It's definitely. I don't want to say it's a minority, but you're just kind of different. Like everyone plays basketball growing up, but I guess being a recruit to colleges is kind of different. Like everyone every year there's about I'd say 3 to 5 or 6 Division I players that come out of here, but across the whole state of West Virginia, it's just kind of different because you kind of hear about these guys everywhere you go and what they do, and then it's just kind of weird that I'm kind of one of them now.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you say that people from West Virginia have a sort of like different playing style compared to any other state? Like people say, like, Chicago, it's scrappy, I guess, kind of similar. Like New York produces like these top point guards, kind of all that stuff. Would you say that West Virginia has their own unique style as well?
Uh, in a way that now you say that, yeah, I think a lot of West Virginia teams like to get their threes up. A lot of running gun type of fast pace, a lot of offense. Not the most defensive oriented teams. Just a lot of threes, a lot of shots up.
Yeah. And I tend to always mix in like a question that relates to what we're talking about, but slightly random. And then this is one of those questions. So I know like West Virginia is kind of on like the East Coast, but then like I mean, kind of has the name West in it. So my brain automatically thinks it's more like a Western kind of state. Do you consider, or is West Virginia like, do you consider that more of like a Southern kind of state, or is it more of like a Northeastern kind of state?
I actually like. I've talked about this like with my friends. Like I think it's funny you say that. Most of my friends consider it like a southern school, like a southern um, state, just because like not because of the geography mainly, just because of the people and the kind of way the state runs and it's oriented. So I'd say more of a southern state.
Yeah, I hope I did not realize how much it's kind of Midwestern. I didn't even realize how north it
Yeah,
is. That's
Ohio's right there.
yeah. I'm looking at the map right now. That's why I'm like, dang, that's kind of crazy. It's like right, it's right like Pennsylvania and everything. I had no idea about that. But I guess to see like, are you a big like sweet tea drinker kind of guy? Like, I know it's a big Southern thing. That's kind of what I was curious to see. That's like the test or not.
No, I'm not the biggest sweet tea guy. My family loves it though. My dad and sister especially are big sweet tea fans, but nah, not. It's never really been for me.
Okay, but I guess for a lot of people though, like it is.
Oh yeah. It's big around here. I
Okay.
not me personally, but I know like my friends will have like grandparents that like make their own, and it's just like a delicacy up here.
Yeah. All right. So oh shoot. I'm sorry. I forgot. I set an alarm on my phone for something. Holy crap. I'm so sorry. I
Nah, you're
completely,
good.
I completely forgot about that. But I guess continuing on, still we're sticking to West Virginia. So I'm assuming, or I guess I know the high school basketball season's going on. I'm sure last season, the season before, like were very different. So what's it like, in West Virginia, kind of getting in the swing of things and kind of what that West Virginia high school basketball culture is like in terms of more like the atmospheres and like the way games are, like the competition, competitiveness, all that stuff.
Um, well, this year it's definitely been a lot better with COVID, like stands and the people that come, but most gyms aren't very big here, so it is actually kind of nice like that, just to have a full crowded like packed gym that holds 1,000 people instead of like you know a couple
Mhm.
thousand arena, couple thousand capacity arena that just doesn't get filled up. So it's definitely nice this year with the fans back and the student sections back. But there's some places that obviously don't have the greatest atmospheres, but then you go to others and then they're just great atmospheres. Our student section will travel, and it's just a battle royale in their gym. But it's definitely it is a big deal though. A lot of fans because most high schools we're the biggest classification of high school in West Virginia, so most most times a lot of smaller communities like all go to the games just because there's not much else to do here in the winter especially.
Yeah. I like that statement. I thought was kind of cool, which I agree with. I mean, of course, a big packed gym is obviously very, very cool. but especially for a regular season high school game, like small chance of things really going to get packed. Like even if you're, the top team in the whole entire country, like playing like the number, well, I guess if it's number one versus number two, that might get packed. But like usually, like unless you're that like top team, no chance like that gym's going to get sold out, even if it's a big gym. But like there's like a gym near where I live that's super small and it's built like it seems like a normal gym, but there's something about the acoustics in it where there'll be like 20 people in there and it sounds super loud. So like, I kind of like agree with like what you said. Like it's almost better to have like a small packed gym where all
Yeah.
that noise is super condensed and just have like a big, I guess, kind of because it also looks more depressing too. If it's like a big gym, it's like kind of empty. Like it's like kind of sad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Uh, and then I guess another thing too. Again, we're sticking with the with West Virginia. You talk about I guess how it's cold out, not much to do. I see you're wearing like I guess like a puffy like North Face jacket inside.
yeah.
Like, I mean, well, first, like, I mean, why? Like, is it like super cold? Like, where you are right now, or are you like
It is a little
comfortable?
cold. I kind of just uh got back from cryotherapy, and it was just cold from there. But
Yeah,
we got a couple inches of snow yesterday. I'm sure like last week and even maybe yesterday, you guys got a big snow, but we got maybe 4 or 5 inches, so it is a little bit cold here. But honestly, the jacket's just warm, so just kept it on.
yeah. I have to admit. I mean, I live like in South Florida. Today was a freezing day. Actually, I think it got to like want to say definitely a little bit above 40 in the morning. I wore my sweatshirt all day. That was a cold. It's 57 right now. Today was probably one of the colder days we've had in a long time. So it was a little bit annoying for us, but I'm sure for you that would have probably been a little nice.
Yeah, I think it was like 24 when I woke up.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but you know what I thought was cool though, which I haven't talked to a lot of players. You mentioned the cryotherapy. Like I know that's like I know what that is. I know it's trendy, but I don't know why I've like never talked about it with any players. So that's something you do. You do often.
I get into it as the season gets along. Out of season, I definitely don't do it as much, but I don't know. I feel like it makes me feel like definitely like rejuvenated and ready to go. So like we have a conference game tomorrow, so I figured that why not try to prepare yourself the best you can.
Yeah. So I know like when I go in a hot tub, I'm doing more doing it for relaxation reasons. But when I go in a hot tub, like I feel very like calm and relaxed and whatever. So that's how I feel when I go in a hot tub. But like just like how would it feel if I go like if I go in a cryotherapy tube box, whatever you call it, like if I come out, am I gonna feel like amped up? My muscles gonna feel like calm from like if I was in a hot tub, how am I really gonna feel from
Uh,
that?
I guess I'm somewhat used to it now, but I definitely remember like first time I went, I was jumping to stay warm. Like it's definitely something that gets me feeling like that every single time, but it's definitely not calming or like in there to feel good. I'm just kind of thinking of the end result that I will feel better after this.
Yeah. So I guess it's a little more of like a energy. I mean, it's not like energy, but it's more like kind of getting you very tense in a
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
or like woken up from the cold. Like that's gonna like wake someone up. I guess.
it definitely does for sure.
Yeah. But then like I mean, I'm sure you know. Maybe for people that don't know, like explain because like it gets super cold in there. Like I don't get the safety behind it. I don't understand like how it's possible for someone to not like die in there. Like how does that kind of actually work and help out the body? Because it sounds like insane.
No, it is nuts. I was in there today. Like the maximum you can do is 3 minutes. So I guess that's got to do with something of the health reasons. So you're in there for 3 minutes. The one that I go in starts at like -60 or -70, and then for 3 minutes it just gets colder and colder until like the very end. It probably reaches. I think mine today was like -130 or -140. It was just so cold, but it's just I don't know how it doesn't like freeze you like you said, but
Yeah.
it's definitely better and a lot cleaner than an ice bath. So I'd rather just do that.
Yeah. So an ice bath like that would serve the exact same purpose. Like it's not like ice bath is like not as cold or like whatever. Like if I took an ice bath, it would kind of be the same thing.
It's pretty equivalent, yeah. I just I don't know. That one gets me feeling my full body better because your full body's in there. Typically, an ice bath, your most of your back's exposed or
Yeah.
like out of the water. So I just like the cryo better.
So is the ice bath water like just as cold, or is it like a little more hotter, and that's why you have to stay like in the ice bath for a longer time?
Uh, I'd say pretty similar actually. It, I'm sure it doesn't get anywhere near the negative 150s, but
Yeah.
it's just like guess like being in the water, just being like fully submerged in it. I think it's definitely a lot different than just sitting in a tank full of nitrogen, which is
Mhm.
just odd to even think about actually.
Yeah. So now my final thing about cryotherapy, then I'll move on to a little more of the recruitment side of basketball. I want to like, do you have to sign a waiver every time you do it? Or like the first time you do cryotherapy, they have like a little waiver form you
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
fill
you
out.
actually do have to sign one. Yeah.
Okay, that's that. That's how I'm like, there's no way like they don't have one of those. But as now we kind of hop into a little more of the recruitment stuff. But again, we'll still stick a little more on the West Virginia side of things. So I'm sure like being in a state like West Virginia, again, not known for like producing these insanely like legendary basketball players, I guess you could say. So automatically, I guess would make recruitment a little harder because you're gonna be like, oh, why would like this next Michael Jordan come out of West Virginia like he's gonna come out of North Carolina, like all these other players. So how do you really kind of get offers for yourself and give yourself exposure? Because you have a handful of offers. However, like you're from West Virginia.
Definitely getting out of the state helps tremendously over the summer. Um, AAU has been phenomenal to me. So definitely getting out of the state, really putting yourself in front of coaches is what my advice would be to anyone from West Virginia.
Yeah, and it seems like you're the AAU program you play for. Pretty sure, yeah. The West Virginia Generals looks like they show you a lot of love. Just what has that program really done for you?
Um, Nothing but good things, I'd have to say. Me and my one of my better friends, Austin Ball, we've been with him since my freshman year, and it's just been nothing but good things. Our AAU coach sends film out most days, talks to coaches for us, trying to just put us onto in front of any coach possible to really, because at the end of the day, it's just where you are and what happens to you, because you just got to perform whenever that happens.
Yeah, and do you all remember the day? I'm gonna assume it was over the summer where you got that first offer. Kind of maybe what you think you did that got you that offer. Maybe it was after a big game, and then just what that whole overall moment was like when that coach called you and offered you.
Yeah, I could tell you exactly where it happened. I was at Youngstown State's camp over the summer, and I played really well. I thought I shot the ball really well. And after the camp, he said, "We'd like to talk to you." And so I went up to the locker room. It's kind of odd how it's set up, but I'm just trying to picture, like, remember exactly where I was. It was probably you go up these stairs in the locker rooms to the right, and then there's like some history to the left. So we're just kind of waiting outside the locker room a little bit, and he's talking to me, and he says, "So you really have no offers, right?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he said, "You just got your first one." So it was just kind of like cool how he really did it, and I just never even really thought about it happening that day. But I'm very thankful and grateful for the opportunity that I had.
Yeah, and I ask a lot of players this. I mean, as for you, it's almost a little different because you, for most of them, over the phone. But I guess for you to get that offer in front of the coach, like in person, were you trying to like? Because I'm assuming on the inside you're like freaking out. Like, were you trying to like really like hold your cool?
Yo, absolutely. It's really hard because like my dad was right there too, and me and my dad just kind of looked at each other. We were like, after talking to him walking down the steps, all I can think in my head is, whoa, like it's really happening. So it's definitely something I remember for sure.
Yeah. And did you think like did you always think you were going to be a Division 1 basketball player? Like at least maybe starting that high school season, like leading up to that point, like did you think you would get an offer at some point? You just really didn't know when, or did you almost have no idea like what would be the next chapter for you?
Um, so it happened maybe June 15th is the day that juniors can start to
Yeah,
talk to college
yeah, yeah,
coaches.
yeah.
I went to their camp. I'll guess and say June 10th. Like fast forward a month from before, is when West Virginia had their state basketball tournament. So we were state champs last year as a sophomore. Um, I I hit the game winner to win the state championship, which was
Damn.
absolutely crazy to think about. And then so I kind of built a name up for myself, just kind of over social media about this sophomore. And so I was kind of like thinking about it to myself that maybe it might happen soon, but I'm a 16-year-old junior, about to be a junior, not even a junior yet. Um, which, and then I just didn't really think that, man, it would happen this soon. So I always thought in the back of my head, if I worked hard enough and I really performed the right way, then it could definitely happen. It could happen, but I'm just thankful that it did happen so early that it did.
And we're going to have to now step away from these offers a little bit because I mean I didn't know and I wish I could find the video. Like I'm looking at your tagged Instagram posts. Like I can't find the video of that game winning shot, but that must have been like literally insane. So I mean that whole game, especially being a sophomore,
Yeah, I
maybe
still don't believe it.
yeah. I mean just I don't even know what to ask. Just kind of talk to me like about that because that sounds unbelievable.
Yeah, it was nuts. We play our state tournament in the Charleston Civic Center,
Mhm.
which holds like probably uh, 12,000 people, 11,000. I mean, it was somewhat packed, but it was one of the most unforgettable but not believable moments of my life. And still don't believe that it happened.
Yeah. So kind of, I guess maybe take us through that play and then I guess that game and even like leading up to it. Like, do you think maybe you did something like I know there was one player interviewed, Jaden Shoot, who think he has like the all-time 3-pointers made in a single game record in the state of Illinois. He's a senior, he's committed to Duke. And he kind of said like that day, I think something happened where they gotta like shoot extra during their like shoot around at the school. So he like put up a lot of shots, like more than usual before the game, and all of a sudden the game happens and he's like knocking down everything. And that's kind of why he's like, yeah, it probably helped me hit that record. Like it's something maybe happened differently that day for you that got you to hit that shot. Like I guess maybe what happened during the game, kind of all that stuff.
I'll bring it back to a topic we had earlier. The
Yeah.
first time I ever did cryo was that day.
Wow.
So I thought that was hilarious. So, but yeah, though that play was something that um I shot well. I shot well leading into that. I was in foul trouble in the second half. I maybe had 4 points in the first half, which wasn't obviously very good. And then I come out and I was 6 for 6 from the field goal in the second half, and I finished with uh, I think it was 14 or 16, which as a sophomore and a state
Mhm.
championship game. I mean, it was a low scoring game too. I think it was 46-47. So yeah, it's the first time I ever did cryo, which was hilarious to me.
Yeah. And then what happened now? I mean, take us through that final play exactly when you hit that game winner.
So the play before that, they ran a set play, very good set play. We fouled them. They hit 2 free throws. They're up 46-45, and we were going down the court. Nothing was called. Just regular offense, and I caught the ball at the top of the key. I had a Division II Shepherd commit on me, a very good player. Took one jab left, and then I dribbled right, got to the right elbow, shot over top of him with 10 seconds left and shot fell. And then uh, we came down, played solid defense. They didn't get a very great shot up. So that was it right there.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like unbelievable. And I guess when you got like going down the court, because I'm assuming like there wasn't that much time left, obviously, since you probably had the ball for like a couple of seconds, I assume. So when you're going down the court, was it really, especially in the state championship game, like this is the final moments of some of the seniors like high school career. Like this is the end of the season. There's no more. If you win, there's no more. If you lose, there's no more. There's no way you guys were acting like, oh, we're just going through regular offense. Like it's nothing like there's no way you're not going a little bit crazy in your brain. Like what was also basically going on like when you're just heading down the court. I guess about to get ready to hit that shot.
We had two very good seniors at the time, and that game they were playing both pretty well. So obviously, I'm thinking one of them would take the shot. But at the top of the key, I saw an opportunity, and I guess saw a one-on-one moment and got over top of him.
Yeah, and then I guess when the game ends, I mean, this one might even be a dumb question, but are you just so happy you're not even thinking about this, or do you all realize like that other team is probably like devastated right now at the end of that game? Did you ever like think of that, or was it more just like you were so happy in the moment you didn't care? All right, looks like we lost him for a second. Um, should be right back shortly. But yeah, I guess we'll just wait for him to come on. Man, I still can't believe that is definitely one of the more interesting stories I probably ever heard in these interviews. So I was have him hop right back in there. All right, I'm gonna wait to see his face come up and then I'll put him in. Oh shoot. All right, there you go.
My fault.
All right, now you're all good. All right, but I guess anyways, my question for you was like when you hit that shot, and I guess when the buzzer sounded, like obviously like the other team's probably super devastated because like that's it. Like you basically ended their whole season kind of on a almost sour note. So when the game was over, were you more so happy like you even think of that, or did you almost feel like I don't know, any sort of guilt? Like you literally, I mean, they say it's like the dagger. Like you literally almost. I mean, you obviously didn't like kill him with a knife, but like that's kind of probably how they felt. Did you feel at all like guilty for that, or you were just so happy you didn't really care?
Yeah, it was. I wasn't really thinking about that. There's literally a couple. There's a couple pictures like right after it happened that like the shot didn't fall, and I just stood there and in disbelief. So it was something wild for sure. I definitely didn't feel like guilt, but I was really just in like disbelief that it happened.
Yeah, and like I hope you know. I mean, the question does sound, I guess, kind of dumb. Like for me, like I will probably never know what it feels like to hit that this game winner dagger kind of shot. So I really just try to figure out just like what it's like kind of inside the player's head. So I definitely, I mean that was like a cool perspective for me, personally. Yeah, but then I guess now we can bring it back to the recruitment now. So I mean, you're from West Virginia. I know West Virginia hasn't offered you yet, but that's kind of like the big school in that state. Even if it's not them, like, did you have like at all a dream school when you were a kid, or was there a college team you would watch, when you're in elementary school and middle school you were like a fan of, or that your parents were a fan of?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, I grew up in the Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker era of Wisconsin, so I enjoyed watching them in my elementary school days. And then I guess going towards middle school, I always loved watching Syracuse and Jim Boeheim's 2-3. I just always thought it was so funny to watch collegiate athletes go against the 2-3 zone and just have trouble with it. And
Mhm.
then my mom being from Ohio, she went to Ohio. It was kind of just always a dream for me to kind of get an offer to an alma mater school like that.
Yeah, it's crazy the Syracuse 2-3 because I've seen them play in person, and like it literally like it would look like there's an extra guy on the court. Like I was seeing him play in Miami, they just passed the ball, and all of a sudden, like they couldn't get by it. It was the weirdest thing I've seen. Like it's the 2-3. Like obviously like, you could like beat that, but for some reason, like they just
It's
can't figure
so
out.
difficult.
Yeah, it literally like it looks like my dad said this. He's like it looks like there's an extra guy on the court. Like it's super weird.
No, it's so I don't get it. I just think it's so funny to watch it though.
Yeah, no, it's definitely unbelievable. But I guess now being more of like in high school where you're a recruit now, do you maybe not even have like a favorite team you would say currently? Like maybe there's some teams you watch more than others, but do you not have a favorite team just because like you never know who's gonna talk to you, who's gonna offer you. You almost want to know like a little bit about almost every school in the country.
I'm definitely curious about like most schools in the country for sure, but like I still watch Syracuse to this day a lot, and I just think what they're doing with their program has just always been um, top tier in the country. And then I always, um, and then my dad, he went to University of Maryland, so keeping up with them has always just kind of been cool. And then being from West Virginia, only one Power Five school. You
Mhm.
know, everyone's kind of a WVU fan in a way, or they at least watch it. So it's definitely between those three schools, I'd say.
Yeah, and I'm sure those schools would be fun to go to games too. And luckily for you, like you've had the opportunity to take, I guess, a handful of visits. So it's like how are those visits?
Um, every one of them, you kind of learn something new. That's kind of just how I looked at them. Belmont was a great visit. Nashville was just very eye opening to me. It's kind of being from West Virginia. Uh, going up to WVU was really a great visit. Just seeing what all the fans in West Virginia really look like is truly something to see. And then going to Ohio, it's always been a great visit. Really seeing players that could be my teammates is really different to even think about. And then Youngstown State, great visit. You know, I think they'll always just have a special place, just being the first ones to really take a chance on me. So I think every visit, you always learn something new.
Yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, I feel like this would be cool for me too. Is like to see those players that be my future teammates. But like, I'll watch on YouTube. Like, there's a channel that does like facility tours. Like, I just love seeing all the facilities. I mean, is
Oh
that
yeah, it's so fun.
yeah?
Is
Like,
it Koski Media?
yeah, it's that.
Yeah,
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 I know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
Their stuff. I love watching those videos. I usually try to
The
watch like the
Texas Tech
basketball
one I
ones.
thought was crazy. The
Yeah,
newest
I
one.
think I finished that one. Yeah, I've seen like all of them, but some of them I've watched like ages ago. But the UNC one I almost want to rewatch because that one looked like pretty sick.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the Texas Tech the practice facility thing looked. Oh yeah, I finished it all. I think I watched it. I can even tell you like I haven't watched too much YouTube recently, but let's see. I've watched like one,
No,
two,
I
three,
came out
four,
like
five.
maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was my 10th. The last like my I guess 10 videos ago, I watched that I finished that video. And then I saw the Houston one right before it. Now the stuff is insane.
No, it's crazy. I thought Texas Tech was really.
Yeah. Which I'm like surprised. I mean, I know they're like a great program, but like it's just so it's cool and like weird and like crazy to imagine like because I mean Kentucky's gonna be insane, UNC is gonna be crazy in Kansas, but then like you're not gonna imagine like Texas Tech to have an insane basketball facility, but yet they do, and like every school has like an insane facility. So it's like I mean they have all this money like on these insane facilities, but then how come like it's always the same schools that are finishing out like on top? Like it's just it's a lot going on. But my favorite part of the
Yeah.
video is the jumbotron in the practice facility. I thought
Oh, the
was
screen.
insane.
Yeah, the little screen behind it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
There were so many screens in that entire facility.
yeah. But I don't know why, but the one thing I think about every time is like the whole how they all have like the snack stations. Like I would have no self control. Like I don't know
I
what I would do.
I
If
don't understand
they
how
had
you
like
go.
if they had like unlimited smoothies, unlimited like those Gatorade protein bars are so good. If they had like unlimited all that, I don't know what I would do. Like that
Just like
that's a question
restock
I
for
went
you
through.
every week.
Yeah, it's that part is like every time I'm like, man, I don't know what I would do if I'm like there every day and get the opportunity to have that. Like, I really don't know what I would do. But that's always the coolest part.
No, I definitely know what you're saying though.
Yeah. Now those videos. Do you have like? I mean, I guess you could either to not be like biased, you could say like a thing about every facility, or if you do have like just a clear favorite, like was there something super cool you saw at one of the facilities you went to?
West Virginia being like the biggest like Power
Mhm.
Five, I thought their facility was great. It was really cool because they have like all the awards and like the trophies and everything like right when you walk in, and then you go to the left and it's kind of like where everything opens up, and it's like there's the women's side and there's like the men's side, and you literally split it down in half. Like each side has its own court, each side has its own coach's office and everything. It's just like really cool to see the like how much really goes into everything.
Yeah. But then I guess I am curious. I mean, what about the more like the mid-major colleges that you've gone on visits? I mean, just how are those facilities? Because I'm sure, I mean, like we'll keep it real, like they probably don't have as much money in their basketball facility as a school like West Virginia does, but still like I mean, how nice are those mid-major facilities?
Oh, they're definitely. If you ever like complained about them, I think you'd be wrong because I think everything you get is really just a grateful. You should be grateful to have, especially at an athlete's cost. But I think Belmont is really one that you never really expected. But I think their practice facility is one that's on par with many um, high major Division One programs, just because recently redone two very nice courts. Uh, I thought the coolest thing was like they have the two courts and like the weight room, and there's like a garage door opener into the weight room where it like opens up. I thought it was sweet,
Yeah.
but definitely Belmont is like just one that really just stood out to me. But every mid major program I've seen so far has very nice facilities, even though they may not be on level with only one I've seen is West Virginia, but
Mhm.
like they're still very nice facilities.
Yeah. How much are I mean, I guess unless it like kind of varies per player, but like how much does the facility itself, just the facility, kind of get it factor into a recruit's like decision on a school? Like is that something that you and like a lot of other guys maybe know, like they consider that heavily, or is it more like that's like the cherry on top kind of thing?
Um, I don't think it's that important to me. I think it's more about the people that really go in those facilities. Um, Obviously, facilities like you said can be a very nice cherry on top, but I think it's definitely more about the people for me that go in the facilities and like how the facilities work, and just because I mean facilities can be very nice, but I don't think facilities show wins and losses like the people do. So
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Well, as anyways, we'll kind of wrap it up with a couple more maybe inspirational, just good positive note questions before we get in the interview. So I guess one, still got a lot of time left in your high school career. I mean, it definitely is kind of running out shortly. I'm assuming playoffs are probably going to start in like a month or so for you guys. And all of a sudden, like senior year, final season, but just what are you really trying to prove and kind of get accomplished before you graduate high school?
uh, this year certainly go back to back. We got a lot of work to do, but and then I don't know any kid that doesn't want to be a player of the year. This year it's very tough in West Virginia with competition this year. We got a very good Virginia commit, Isaac McNeely, coming out of West Virginia.
Mm.
So that it's always difficult, but it's never impossible. So if you do what you can and you don't win, you've done all you could, then there's no reason you should be sad or really like
Yeah.
just yeah, not really like you shouldn't be mad about that just because you did all
Mhm.
you could. So what else can you be? What else can you ask for?
Yeah, and that definitely applies to like I mean everything in life outside of just even being enjoy even make it still about basketball. Like outside of like being a player, like where if you don't get the Gatorade Player of the Year, but you did everything you could. Like again, shouldn't be mad about that. But even as like a team, if you want to win a game, but and the team knows like they did every single thing they could have done to win that game, like then there's really
You shake
nothing.
them in their hands and say, "You guys won."
Yeah, exactly. And there really is up like unless there's like maybe like any like teensy bit of like we should have done this, then like okay, get a little mad. But if you did everything like that, then I don't know. Then you just got like unlucky or something like that. There's really nothing you could do about that. At the end of the day, and even with school too. Like, I mean, my parents always tell me this. Like, I never listened, but like I know it's right. Like, if I did everything I could to get a good grade on this test, and I'm not getting the grade I wanted, like, I mean,
You
it
can't
is
get
like
mad at it.
I can't do anything about it. Like, it's not my fault that like it's too difficult. I guess like I did everything I could. So that's definitely facts for sure. Now on a more just overall, I guess, career note with your basketball career. I mean, when that's all said and done, just what do you want to be remembered as, and kind of what legacy do you want to leave on the game of basketball?
Um, I want to be known as the guy that people wanted to play with. If that's all that happened to me, and I was just the guy that people wanted to play with, then I think teammates wanted to play with me, then I think I've done my job as a basketball player, because I think everyone should want to be played with. Like, they
Mhm.
just no one wants to be that guy. No one wants to play with the guy that argues and does all the little things that annoy you. But if you really do the best that you can as a teammate and you respect your others, then I think that you can't ask for anything more out of a basketball player.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's all I really got to ask. Really appreciate you for coming on. But there is one more question that I do actually have to ask you. It's kind of a tradition I have with certain players, depending on their Instagram usernames. If they have a number in their bio, like yours, and you put the number 0 in there, but it doesn't seem like you actually wear that number, unless maybe you were planning on and didn't have it. But just why the number 0?
Um, I believe that it was the only one available. I think one was taken, and I think 0 was just my second choice. Most people don't think of 0, and I guess in a underlying message, I like to think of the underlying message that not everything is really. Where do I go with this? Like, not everything is. You know what I'm
I have
trying to
no
say?
idea, man. I have no idea.
Not like.
I'm thinking of Wizards of Waverly Place right now. How they're like not everything's what it seems, but I don't think that's
Yeah, like, I guess in a way, picking a number isn't a great idea or example of that, but there's always underlying messages that underlying is not the right word. I guess scrap that question, because
yeah. Wait, but are you talking about 0 in terms of putting it for your Instagram username? Because like that's not the number you wear. Like at least like you got 33 in these pictures.
yeah, I don't wear 0.
Yeah, so it's more as like you were picking a number for your Instagram like username, and that's like you picked 0 for I
Yeah,
guess
0 is not my first option, but I mean, it kind of is. I just kind of got it and ran with it. It's also my Twitter and
yeah.
Snapchat as well. So
Did you try picking a like just having it be just your name without like any numbers, or did you like was that not available either?
no, I like to keep. I don't know. I didn't want to have any hyphens or underscores in mine. So
Mhm.
I mean, your username does the same thing, but
Yeah,
it's about your brand name.
yeah.
So
I think yeah, no, my personal account, it's my name and then dot and then my last name. Actually, I just did that because I was like, I'm not gonna put like a, especially if I don't play, like if I don't have my own number, like I'm not
yeah,
gonna put a number.
I don't know. Every time I just think like 0 though. Like, you ever see that one why D'Angelo Russell wore 0?
Hmm.
I don't know. I just always think of that every time I hear
Yeah.
0.
I mean 0 like I mean, I don't know if you think like that's a number people want to have. Like, I'm surprised actually this kid on my team. He's definitely never gonna see this, but I call him Agent Zero. So shout out Agent Zero. But like that's a popular number. Like people want to wear a 0, like because everyone's like, oh, it's different. No, like now everyone wears 0, but there's
Yeah,
so
it used to be different. Probably when I made Instagram.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, like 0 is like that's like a trendy number now. Like Russell Westbrook, I mean, wearing zero is like kind of cool.
Yeah, probably when I made Instagram, it probably was different, but
Yeah.
here I am with it still.
Yeah. I think you could. I mean, you could change it if you want to, but I still think like it's kind of cool thinking about that too. Like, I mean, we're not old, but like we kind of were like one of the first people to kind of really hop on Instagram. So I guess that's kind of cool thinking about just how the world has changed and how what used to be not trendy and different is now actually like super basic, which I think is kind of cool to.
Yeah, now that you say that, I actually might think about changing it, but I
Yeah,
just
well,
never really gave it a
I
thought.
always feel like I think it's cool. Like I don't want to be like the guy that makes you like self conscious over
No,
your
I won't be self
Instagram
conscious. I just
username.
like the way you're thinking. I think is correct. So like
Yeah.
it gives me a second thought.
Yeah, but I do think though, I mean, I think it's still kind of cool. Or what you could even do is keep the zero in there for the memories, but instead of the O and Nicol, just make it like the zero and take the O out. I mean,
That
keep
was taken too.
oh,
I remember that. I
my
remember
bad.
that
I know an
specifically.
alarm that came off again. I had to remind myself to charge a calculator, so that's why I don't want to forget. But yeah, you could definitely do that though with your username.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm not expecting this to get so deep about the Instagram username, but that's all I got to ask. So, really, really appreciate you coming on, taking the time, letting me speak to you. Before we get in this interview, just got to plug your Instagram and plug my Instagram. So make sure you guys give him a follow on Instagram, at least for now. Still his username's at Ben Nicol 0. And mine's at iHoopsFL. And anyways, for 2023, George Washington High School small forward, Ben Nicol. I'm Isaac Fleischer, and this has been another IUPS interview. Peace out, guys.